Hello and welcome! I'm DDF Racer and today I'm going to be taking you through a guided lap of my brand new racetrack in Assetto Corsa, Circuit Thermalito. It's only been released for a couple of days as of making this video, but it's already got over 1,000 downloads on Race Department, and the community event that I'm hosting in a couple of weeks, it's already full. All 38 seats in the Porsche Cup car have been taken, which is just incredible. The response has been off the charts, and honestly I cannot thank you enough. So if you've downloaded the track and you're enjoying it, then fantastic. Thank you so much. And if you are enjoying it, then I also want to point out the fact that the guy who made this track, Nuke Drop, he's made a stack of other tracks for Assetto Corsa as well, so if you like this, you're probably going to like his other stuff as well. There's a lot of it available for download for free on Race Department, but if you get on his Patreon page, which is literally only a couple of dollars a month, then you get access to all of his work in progress stuff and a heap of unreleased tracks as well, so yeah. Get on that, people. Anyway, here we are in Assetto Corsa in the Porsche Cup car, the official DLC 2017 Porsche Cup car, and we're about to do the fastest lap of the circuit that I've ever seen. It's only been out for a couple of days, like I said, but we've already got some aliens on the practice server. Thankfully, Yuval, the guy who set this lap, is kind enough to share his replay and his setup, so there's a link down to that in the video description, along with a link to download the circuit if you haven't already got hold of it. But yeah, I'm going to go through this lap today. I'm going to take you through corner by corner, and hopefully not only you, but I'll learn a few things about how to drive at my own circuit. Anyway, we are now on the main straight, the Mooney straight, heading towards the first chicane, turns 1 and 2, Evencott Junction. So brake around about 100, chuck it in. You can really monster the curbs here. Watch out for the barrier on the left, pit exit as well. Heading up the hill, up the Damo straight towards Davenport Corner. Nice and banked. There's Arnold Schwarzenegger in the distance there, advertising California. Through the rainy curves, turn 4, turn 5, turn 6. You want to get nice and close to the wall as you head out onto Mokang Drive here. Slight kink, turn 7, no name for this one, and then whole corner, turn 8, downhill, banked, sweeping, super high speed, into the Rexy flick, through the JT tunnel, quick acceleration, then on the brakes, a nice dip here through the MJS as you go left, and then you go right. You can really use a lot of track on the left because, to be honest, I haven't got the track limit set up for this properly yet, so that'll be fixed for next year. But anyway, down the sticky straight, pick a braking point, very tricky braking zone, it dips, the front wheel is going to lock, you're going to run wide through the Hunter Loop no matter what happens, and now onto the Abaddon Straight. Nice suit speed signage everywhere you look, the walls are in close, the water's on the right. First breather off the lap, get ready to brake, you're heading into Binsbergen Corner. Cut the curb on the left, keep it tight, throw it right into Jorensen Corner as you head into the second tunnel, the second Cummings tunnel. Brake, keep it nice and tight, briefly first gear, through Chicane Mund, into Brody Bend. Watch out for the bumpy tarmac on the inside, then down the shunty straight, brake down into the power loop, nice wide line here, the slowest corner, the most technical corner on the track, through the power loop, up into the SCB community straight, through the Eclair, and braking for Naumann Herpin, another slow first gear corner. Come out of this, you don't turn left, you go right now. This is Henrik 1, Henrik 2, heading towards Naptic Corner, and then Fielders with the wall on the right, heading down Eldora Sprint. Pick a braking point for the final proper corner of the circuit, Bergen Bend, slight acceleration, very bumpy, through the rangy kink, and you're back onto the main start-finish straight again for, let's have a look at the bottom, a 2 minutes 2.934, which is just absolutely insane. That is alien pace. Epic lap, Yuval. That is awesome work, mate. So, let's break that down and see exactly how he did that. So I'm probably going to start and stop this lap quite a bit, to be honest, and go through the finer details as and when. It's too much for real time. So as you approach here, you can see braking just as the strip on the right turns from grass to green runoff, and right on the 100 marker you got the Circuit Thermalito advertising on the right as well, so lots of markers for this braking point. It is very tricky if you brake too heavily. As you can see, he's fully on the brakes here. He's probably running quite a rearward brake balance. I haven't actually checked out the setup myself yet, but heavy on the brakes and bleeding off as you get round about the 50 mark, just after the 50. It looks like you're turning in early, but you can really use a lot of the curb, so you can see front of the car is actually over the sausage. This Porsche is very compliant over the bumpy stuff. It doesn't feel like it at first, but once you chuck it over a few curbs, you realize you can actually launch it. So you want to use as much curb as possible though. You don't want to hit it with the outside tyre though, because that's going to really unsettle the car. So over the curbs, and you're already aiming towards the centre point of turn 2. So as you can see here, when I get going again, the centre of the car is over the sausage. So you've pretty much straight lined that as much as you can. Apex speed there is 110 kilometers an hour, and all the more speed you can carry through this means all the more speed you can carry down the straight. So you want to kind of run it out to the wall, but not too far, because you're going to have to swing it back again anyway. Have the demo straight. You want to slowly move the car over to the right, braking round about 80 meters. You don't want to be on the curb on the right, because that does tend to unsettle the car too much. It tends to pull the car towards the right and unsettle it. So you want to kind of keep it off the curb and on the tarmac, because you're going to be slowly downshifting, braking and turning towards the left. Now this corner is banked. You don't want to take it too tight, because it is quite bumpy on the inside on the green strip there. You can use a bit, but not too much, and you've got to be patient. Already back on the throttle here, but blending it in slowly. You can see the input's not 100% yet, because if you put full throttle on there, you will spin it around and you will launch it. So you're aiming towards the outside wall. There is a curb there, but like I said, the track limits haven't been properly configured yet, so it's free reign for this year's event. Use all of the space on the outside, run it all the way up to the wall, because the more space you can take on the right here, the wider your turning point is going to be for the next left-hander, which isn't quite flat. It's a tricky corner in this Porsche. Watch the inputs here. Slight lift and then straight back on again. So I'll rewind that and show you. Slight lift, straight back on again, and another slight confidence lift, because it is slightly off camber here. Because if you go flat out there, obviously you got on the power a little bit too early. You needed to be a bit more patient. So even though this is an alien lap, there's obviously still more time to find, which is terrifying. So, yeah, slight confidence lift and back on it again. Completely flat here. You want to straight line it as much as possible. Don't turn in too early to this kink here, because you want to straight line it for the corner entry here. You want to basically have the car nice and settled, because for turn 8, whole corner, it's about to get very unsettled. So, chuck it in. Slight blend of the throttle here. It's so easy to get on the power now, but it will just push wide. So patience, patience, patience. And once the car kind of settles down, you'll feel it through the force feedback. It kind of like not bogs down, it doesn't slow down, but it kind of compresses. And at that point, you can use the banking to get back on the accelerator, and it's so satisfying. It's such a satisfying corner. Look, full throttle now, and it just pulls the car around. If you get on the power too early, by this point of the circuit, you'll be too far over to the right. You'll be understeering, which is then going to compromise you here. You don't want to be still turning to the left here. You already want to be turning the car right, because you need to keep it to the right, because you're going straight into the braking zone through the tunnel. So you really want to compromise the entry in the middle of turn 8 to set yourself up through the tunnel. But it is so easy to push wide and understeer and end it straight in the Tech Pro through the tunnel here. So here we go. You can see already keeping it to the right hand side. It would be so easy to just floor it through here and swing it out to the left. You know, there's heaps of room on the left, but you don't want to be using that, because it's all about this corner now. Turn 10. Entering the MJSs, and as for braking point, you can see just as the Thermalito signs end on the right hand side, that's the reference point here, so that's around about the 50 mark. Yep, just here. And it's an early turn in, because it's a blind crest. Well, it's not really a crest, it's like a blind, it drops off. I don't know what the technical word for that is. Let me know in the comments. Turn it in nice and early, and again, you don't want to run it out wide on the exit, because you're immediately going into the right-hander. So compromise this corner, because the right-hander leads onto the sticky straight, which is a very long straight. You need as much speed as you can get. So look, you're already really far over to the left. If this was just a regular left-hander, you'd run it out wide, but you can't do that here, because you'll stuff up this next corner so much. So nice, swing it wide, absolutely full throttle through there. See, look at the throttle trace from here. It's absolutely full throttle. The car is oh no! There was a little lift there. He must have thought he was going into the barriers. Completely demolished the bollards there, but yeah, slight confidence lift. Thought he must have gone into the tyres there. Excuse me. But yeah, straight onto the sticky straight now. Under the Castro Bridge, and like I said in the fast lap, first chance of a breather. And now this is such a tricky braking zone because you are going to brake around about the 100-meter mark. Heavy on the brakes again, but there is a dip in the track here which is going to make the front wheels go light no matter what you do. Unless you brake earlier than 100, then it's not going to lock up the tyres, but by that point you're going to be not carrying enough speed by the apex, so 100 is the right turning point. You've just got to live with the front wheel coming off the ground, especially in this car. And it'll lock up, but it's not really going to do any damage because it's not on the tarmac. So as you turn it in, dip on the left here. There's a couple of bollards on the apex to help you sight it. So turn it in just as the curb ends on the right hand side. There we go, turning it in. You don't want to wait and be patient. You want to be patient and patient and patient here. Just waiting for the car to sort of settle and coast through the corner. No brakes, very slight amount of accelerator. And now full throttle. The car's going to wiggle. There's a bit of a bump on the transition there, but it is flat out all the way through the Hunter Loop and onto the Abaden Straight. So now, next major braking point is into Binsbergen Corner. There's a little bit of extra tarmac runoff, so the wall is flush here, but then it breaks away, so you do have a little bit of extra turn-in space on the right here, which you can use. This curb, and there's a manhole cover here on the road as well, as you can see right there. That can unsettle the car slightly, but it's not enough to make it awkward for turning. So you're braking around about this point. It is bumpy, it's unsettled, it's going to be tricky, but yeah, just before 100, so around about 110, you're going to be braking and you're going to be turning in. You want to be aiming for the Armco barrier on the inside, because by the time you get there, you will have pushed wide. Now, you can use the inside tarmac here. It's all available. You've still got your right tyres inside the white line, but again, like the chicane coming out the first tunnel, you want to keep it over to the left because you're immediately going to be switching back to the right-hand side here. So look, you're already into Jorensen Corner. And as we established at the first chicane, you can use a lot of the curbs here. So chuck it in, bouncy bounce, and already flat on the throttle by the time you... Oh, sorry, I had to press stop there, my bad. Already on full throttle here. By the time you get off the curb, into the tunnel, there you go. And you want to brake for chicane Mund, which you have to brake and turn in early for this corner, way earlier than you think. It just kind of pushes wide every time. There's a little bit of camber and banking on the outside to help the car get through the corner, but there's not a great amount. So the front tyres will scrub, especially in this Porsche. So just before the transition to the DDF barrier on the left, where it goes from Armco to orange, right there, you want to brake, and you want to turn in, and you want to keep it as close to the inside wall as possible on the apex. There's no curbs like at Monaco to stop you from hitting the wall. You're just going to have to play the risk versus reward game on this one. And you want to be patient as well. So you can see on the inputs at the bottom, there is no throttle here. There's a slight amount of throttle. And now, getting back on the throttle again. Normally you'd be on the throttle before that, but because this is a long sweeping corner that immediately goes from Chicane Mund into Brody Bend, then yeah. I mean, there's a slight lift again here, so he's on the throttle, and then feather it, feather it, feather it, and once you get over this red line, feather and go, then the car's settled and you can go. It's easy to run wide here, it's just as fast as keeping the car nice and tight, so it's your preference really, but you are going to want to eventually get the car back over to the right hand side again through Brody Bend. So through we go. He's taking it very early to the right here and straight lining the shunty straight and also the entry to the power loop as much as possible. So there we go. Still not braking at 100. You can brake a little bit later here. Round about the 80-meter mark, he's on the brakes, fully on the brakes. Car's wiggling around under braking, and this is an awkward corner because it is quite bumpy on the inside, and it's very tight initially, but then it opens up. So it's kind of like an increasing radius corner. It's a 90 left, but with a sweeping hairpin, uphill sweeping cambered hairpin after it. Quite hard to miss this as well. There's no real identifying points apart from the giant rock wall on the left-hand side, so it's kind of, you know, heading to the left into the unknown. It's a very late turn in here, almost in the middle of the road by this point, but then you can see already on the throttle feathering it and cutting back towards the apex here. So look, linking up with the apex again here, maximizing the exit. There is a little bump in the road here, which if you take the wide entry, you can floor it through here, you can flat it through here. If you keep it tight, at this point of the circuit, you're going to be more prone to that kind of bump and that rise in the road. So if you're super tight at the apex, you're probably going to have to lift at the exit here, whereas Yuval's already on the power. So a wider line is a good idea here, but it does leave you vulnerable in the race to someone who wants to send it up the inside, so just keep that in mind as well. It's a good hot lap line, it might not be a good racing line. So now we head up the SCB community straight with the nice big flag on the right hand side. That's for you, Nick. Through the Clare, the old start-finish straight, the little kink on the SCB community straight, the marshal's peering at us on the right-hand side there. You want to get the car over to the left and brake just before the 50-meter mark here. And again, another very slow first gear hairpin, which benefits from a late apex. So if you turn it in early, you're going to hit the curb. There's a nice bollard for reference on the inside there. You want to try and stay off that curb. It is very bumpy here because, again, it's all about the exit from the Naumann hairpin here. So it's going to lead into a series of S's. Now, previously, Circuit Thermalito on the old layout used to go straight ahead, which is where the yellow line goes. We don't do that anymore. We turn right through a new series of S's, which basically extends where the start-finish straight is now and allowed us to put the new pit area in it. Otherwise, it would have been way too small for the pits. So this is the major change on the new circuit, these S's. This is brand new track. Most of the other corners are the same. Some have been reprofiled or slightly altered, but this is the major main brand new section at Thermalito. So if you're coming in from the old version, this new bit, it's going to be completely fresh to you. So it's not so much a straight or like an acceleration zone out of the Naumann hairpin. It's a continuation of that. So you're constantly turning right. At no point are you straight after the corner. You come out the hairpin and you're still turning, You want to get on the power nice and smoothly. You can see here, by the time you get to the apex, 50% throttle, slowly up to like 75% throttle, and then when it settles, bang, once you hit the curb on the left, the exit curb, you're going to keep going. Keep it to the right and just keep the power down as much as you can. Straight line this as much as possible. Use all of the space on the inside and then use all of the space on the left here. That was Henrik 1. This is Henrik 2. Tiny bit of grass as well. And you really want to keep this next corner, Naptic corner, incredibly tight, because if you push wide through here, see that is completely flat. I've never taken those two corners completely flat. I've actually just noticed that for the first time. That is incredible. So by taking this straight line approach as much as you can, the left tyre is just on the tarmac. The right tyre is dipped on the grass ever so slightly, but it's fine. You can get away with that. It's not too bumpy out there. It's pretty smooth as far as grass goes. So you can see, by keeping it as far to the right as possible through Naptic corner, you are opening up Fielder's corner as much as possible. If you're any further over to the left here, or the further you are over to the left, then the slower you're going to have to take Fielder's corner. And you can see you don't want to hit that sausage curve on the left because that's really going to unsettle the car. Absolutely flat, which is remarkable, and run it out as close as you dare to the Thermalito equivalent of the Wall of Champions. We haven't actually got a name for that wall. Maybe the winner of this year's race can have the wall named after them. So yeah, absolutely flat through there. Keep it to the right hand side. We can see obviously we're on the official practice server here, the official Thermalito practice server. So there's an OzNZ sim racing car up ahead, which I think is either going to be Shane or Mark Hallowell. I'm not sure who that is, but definitely traffic. So on the practice server, you will have to encounter traffic if there's more than a few people at the same time. Obviously, Yuval approaching at a fast rate of knots. Keep it to the right-hand side. You can brake way after 100 for this one. In fact, the usual braking reference point is where the curb starts on the right-hand side. You don't want to be on the curb too much because it will unsettle the car, much like the entry to the Hunter Loop and also Davenport Bend earlier in the lap as well. So you want to kind of keep it here, and this is an off-camber corner. So if you turn in and hit the apex like you normally would, the car's just going to scrub wide like crazy. So you want to get it nice and early on the turn in. There's a bollard on the inside for reference. You can use the green strip. I use the green strip on the inside to really maximize this apex. Yuval doesn't. Kind of uses a tiny bit of green strip there. It's a bit bumpy through the apex, and the apex, it's not a 90-degree left like it used to be. It's like 110 degrees the corner radius or something now. It's a longer radius corner than it used to be, so it is so tempting to get on the power earlier than you should do in this corner. There's a big bump right here, right at that point of the circuit, so you have to be patient. And see, he's still not on the accelerator here. He's still not full beans because the car's still bouncing around all over the place. It's still getting settled. If you get on the power here, it will kick the rear out. I can guarantee you'll be dealing with oversteer and you'll ruin your run onto the main straight, so that's not advisable. So look at the throttle trace there. And now on the throttle, very wide, using all of the space available. I think there is one tyre still left on the green strip on the left, so that's barely within track limits. Again, this will be fixed for next year, but for this year's community event and all the races until the next update of the track, this is what we're dealing with. So this alien's using the space, you guys can use it as well. And then that's it. Through the rangy kink, the final little kink, well, it's the rangy kink and it's the rangy dip as well. It's not just a straight run onto the start-finish straight onto the Mooney straight. There's a little kink right here, and then over the crest, and that is a lap at Circuit Thermalito. The best ever lap in this car at Circuit Thermalito so far. I've got no doubt that that will be improved upon before the race in a couple of weeks. That is an insane lap. I know I won't be getting anywhere near that, but maybe you guys will. So hopefully this video comes in useful. If it did, don't forget to leave it a like. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What kind of lap times are you getting around here? And also make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the Circuit Thermalito videos that are coming up in the future. 2024 is going to be epic. Every couple of weeks there's going to be a hot lap challenge with a different car. I think I've got 12 or 13 cars lined up already, thanks to the contributors on Kickstarter. Awesome stuff. I can't wait for that. It's going to be amazing. But until then, you look after yourselves, and I'll see you around. Bye-bye.